Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brijin, the Museum Stitcher, and this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about my crafting life, mostly about cross stitch. Today I've got cross stitch, quilting, book reviews, and we're going to talk a little bit about my stitching spot and lighting. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I hope you stick around, like, subscribe, and leave a comment saying hi. And if you are returning, welcome back. Today is April 25th of 2024. It's been a couple weeks since I last filmed, so I have a pretty good update for you today. I have not been stitching as much as I normally do, so the stitching portion of today probably won't be extremely long, but that's fine because I have quilting to share and books and lighting, and so we're going to talk about some other things today, which I think will be really fun, as well as some plans and all of that jazz. So I hope this sounds fun, and I'm excited to get into it today. So we'll start off talking stitching. So my stitching update for today is I worked on 4 projects since I last talked to you several weeks ago. I have 1 new start and 1 finish. So we'll start off with the finish. This is Cross Stitch Makes Everything Okayer by Lucy Beam. I have had this project kitted for forever, and so my friend Megan Babauta, the Seattle Stitcher, suggested that we start it because she also had it kitted up for my birthday this year. So I started this on March 13th with my girlfriends, and I did this beautiful color conversion out of stash for it. It's an extremely easy stash conversion piece, which is great. But the last time that you saw this, I was sitting at about 38% finished. So I worked on this for 3 days and got 1,656 stitches done to get the finish. I'm stitching mine on 40 count Hay Bale Medium linen by Color and Cotton with a Color and Cotton stash conversion to this gorgeous like Southwestern vibes palette. So I did these flowers that are originally in purple in like an orange. And then I did a deep teal for the words, and I deepened the green. And then there's just like a light tan and a gold in the center. So it's a super easy stash conversion. It's definitely more true to color back here. It washes out a little bit when it gets close to camera. But I finished this on April 9th, so it was only a whip for a little under a month, which is super exciting. I pulled this out to finish it because my friend Marjorie has this whip rotation system called Pick a Whip. Her channel is Marjorie Made. She will be linked down below if you want to check her out. She's incredible. But she pulls prompts twice a month to match a whip to, and the prompt for the first half of April was to work on a project with words. So this fit the bill, and I'm excited to have a pick a whip finish for the month of April. So that is everything on this one. I really, really love it. I will pop all the flosses that I used in the description box below if you're interested in using my conversion. I just love it so much. I think it turned out so beautiful, and I cannot wait to have it framed up on my wall. The sentiment on this one really reminds me of how much cross stitch and the cross stitch community have really impacted my life, and they make everything feel okayer. So it's sappy and sentimental, but I feel it. So I'm really excited to throw this up on my wall, and I am really glad to have the finish in. Okay, next up, I worked on the Bookcase by Galliana Cross Stitch. This is an old whip from 2022 for me, and it is probably my largest non-full coverage whip, and it's a big girl. But I have loved this project ever since I saw Stitches by Shelby working on it. She did a beautiful rainbow conversion for this monochromatic piece, and I'm also doing a bit of a color conversion with mine. I have not worked on this in a hot minute, but it had a whip birthday this month in April, and it was one of my whip go pulls. So I don't think I'm finished working on it for the month, so you might see this again in my next Flosstube, but I will pop a picture where it was as of my whip parade, which is the last time that you might have seen it. But I am so excited. This is what it looks like now. I'm stitching this on a 36 count Highland linen by Picture This Plus, which is this gorgeous greeny yellow color, with Color and Cotton Black Walnut as the floss for the bookcase. And then I am doing a bunch of different knickknacks and books in different shades of these like kind of pale mauvey pinks and teal and green and yellow. I think it's going to be really lovely. But working on this piece, I went down here. I finished out this bar here, and I finished the full width of the piece and this whole section here. So I worked on this for a total of 2 stitching sessions, and I got about 1,659 stitches in on it. It is now sitting at 14.8% complete with about 4,617 stitches done, and I just love it. So I started this in April of 2022, and this is where it's sitting now. Now I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to pop up a picture here. I finally finished the rendering of what this is going to look like with all of my colors imported. Now these placements might change around a little bit, but getting the base recoloring done in markup did take a hot minute. I am super excited with how it came out though. So I'll be sharing these DMCs that I'm using for all of the books and the knickknacks to go in the bookcase when I actually start using them. My goal is to at least get the brown completely here, maybe before the end of the month, I'm not sure. I do want to pick this up again and keep working on it. It's such a soothing stitch. This is the only piece right now that I have active that is 36 count with 2 strands, because 2022 Brijin thought you were supposed to use 2 strands on 36, which you totally can. 36 count linen coverage is simply personal preference, but the stitcher that I am now and that I have been for a while prefers 1-stranded stitching on 36, so it's a bit of a struggle for me to get used to the 2-stranded stitching, but I do think this piece is going to look great with it. I've done too much on it to go back now, and so we're just plugging ahead. The needle minder on this one is from Mad for Minders, and I think that's everything to say about this one. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited. I believe the hashtag on Instagram for this piece is the hashtag New Year Bookcase sell. Obviously, I think the stitch along is finished because it's been several years since I started this. But I'm just slowly plugging away at it. Now that I have the coloring done though, I think that I'm going to be a little bit more motivated to continue working on it because part of my hang up on working on this project was not really knowing what the finished product was going to look like. And there are certainly people that can pull off doing that. I am not one of them. I like to have a plan going into things, and so I have a plan now. I feel really good. I need to pull my DMCs to make sure they look good on the fabric still, but I'm really excited. So love that piece. I can't wait to continue working on it, and I'm really glad that it came up for WhipGo on its WIP birthday. I've been having kind of extreme luck with WhipGo, pieces getting pulled in months I was already planning on working on them. I don't know how that's happening. I am not rigging my WhipGo board aside from the one I rigged in January. Any other WhipGo pull I've not rigged, and so it's been a little insane. My other WhipGo pull for April was Sarah Moon, which is the piece I'm working on the full moon of every month. I didn't get to it the full moon of this month, but I am going to work on it for a few days, get a little bit of extra stitching in on it before the end of the month, I think. We'll see. The end of the month kind of snuck up on me. I started doing some social things in the evenings, and it's really cutting into my cross stitch time, but that's fine. The next piece that I started working on was my final monthly goal of the month, which is the Vanity Sampler by Hello from Liz Mathews. The last time that you saw this piece was in Flosstube 39. I was sitting at about 29.3%. With about 6,500 stitches done so far. I originally started this back in August of 2023, and it is now sitting at 33.4% complete, or about 7,483 stitches. I've done about 920 stitches on it since I last saw you, which is a fraction of my monthly goal of just over half. So I still need to do about 840 stitches to finish my April section, but I went through and I started working more on this here and more on the border here. So my goal is to finish out this chunk here and connect the border all the way down to where I've stitched, just to kind of round out the piece. I'm stitching this on 40 count spilled coffee linen by XJuDesigns with my friend CamtheStitcherâ's beautiful gothic pink conversion that I am so obsessed with. I'll get you in close so you can see. what I've worked on, but I am filling in these last few flowers that I didn't get to last month, and I've worked the middle over here, and I worked some of this border, so it's just slow and steady wins the race with this one, but I am so impressed with the progress that I've made on this, just doing 1,700 stitches every month, which is not too bad. So that's Vanity Sampler. I'm going to finish this up probably today and tomorrow. Again, I have a lot of plans for not a lot of days left in the year, but that's fine. This is priority number one. This is the project that needs to get finished before anything else gets worked on. Okay, and then finally, I was not planning on starting anything, but my amazing, wonderful friend, Liz Mathews of Hello from Liz Mathews, I am part of her Patreon, and she released the Patreon chart for April, and there was absolutely no way I was going to resist it. So I kitted it up pretty immediately and got it started. This is Secret Garden. This is a Patreon exclusive piece. You can only get it if you join her Patreon, but her Patreon is extremely affordable, and I love all the designs she puts out. I save every single one, and I don't have enough hands to stitch them all. But this piece is so special, and she designed it in 2 different colorways. So there's a brights colorway that she's actively stitching, and then there's a muted colorway, and I was really torn on which one I was going to do. I ended up pulling the DMCs for both and then like sitting on it for several days, but I ended up going with the muted colorway. And let me grab that to show you. So I'm keeping this in a Painted Leaf Co bag, I believe. I don't have a designer on this one. Anyway, I think this is Painted Leaf Co. But this is the floss ring. It is a hefty floss ring for this project, but my goodness, is it worth it. So let me untangle these. Actually look a little bit professional here. I was just working on this yesterday. I haven't really wanted to work on anything else since I started it, which has become a problem for my goal stitching. But aren't these lovely? Now, I was thinking about doing this on like a dark linen with these muted colors. My friend Cam is doing the muted colorway on this like really vibrant red bricky fabric that's lovely. I'm going a little bit more traditional. This is a 40 count buttermilk linen by Color and Cotton, which was my fabric of the month for this month actually. Perfect timing. And I am sitting now at about 1,365 stitches over about 4 days, 12.6% complete. This is deceptively large, but it's so pretty, it's worth it. So if you'd like to stitch this with me, I am actually going to be creating a hashtag for Instagram if you want to join me and my friends in stitching it. The hashtag is going to be hashtag HFLM for Hello from Liz Mathews, Secret Garden, Sal. And then you can also tell me if you're hashtag Team Muted or hashtag Team Vibrant. I will pop those up here and in the description box below. But definitely go join Liz's Patreon and grab this chart while you can. It will only be there till the 15th of the next month. And then it will go away until it's released fully in about a year or so. So there's a limited time frame to grab this chart and get going on it. I just started on this bird. I figured I would kind of knock out the heaviest portion of stitching first. And so 12% of this project, and I'm not even finished with the bird yet, but it is so lovely to stitch on. My needle minder is a pin that I turned into a needle minder myself from the Eras tour. And yeah, so that is my progress on Secret Garden. You'll have to let me know if you have started this chart, if you're part of Liz's Patreon. Just go support Liz. She's amazing. I love her so much. And this chart is just, it's so stunning in both the muted colorway and the vibrant colorway. I was really torn, but ultimately the muted ones really spoke to me. So that was my impulse start. Thank you, Liz, for making me impulse start things even when I wasn't going to, but it's fine. It's worth it for that chart. So that is all of the active stitching that I've done. Like I said, for the rest of the month, I'm going to be working on Sarah Moon, Vanity Sampler, and probably a little bit more on Secret Garden just to see if I can finish up that bird. Maybe a little bit more on the bookcase. So definitely these same projects will make an appearance. I did get my Whipco pulls for May. Jessie Marie Does Stuff announced the WhipGo, which is like a bingo board for your active projects. If you have not heard of WhipGo before, she announced the polls for May, and the numbers were 5, 13, and 19, which hilariously, number 5 for me, again, it looks like I rigged it, is Bountiful Blooms, which is my Manning May project, which Manning May is coming up. So if you do not know, my friends and I started a stitch along last year in May to work on a Carolyn Manning project, and we are doing it again for the second year in a row because we had so much fun. I am going to be continuing to work on my one that I started last year, which is Bountiful Blooms by Carolyn Manning. This is a beautiful chart. It is kind of English paper piecing inspired, which I love as I am a quilter. And the palette for this is beautiful, and I'm really excited to get some more progress because I have not worked on it since Manning May of last year. So if you'd like to join us, you can definitely search for the hashtag Manning May Sal on Instagram. Follow me, Cam, Marjorie, and Megan, all of whom will be linked down below, the amazing people who I started this stitch along with. And yeah, so if you have any Carolyn Mannings in your stash, if you have any existing whips, ones you want to restart, you know, get those finishes in and join us in May. So that'll be really exciting. So anyway, that got pulled as my WhipGo as well. So I'm kind of doing double duty with that project next month. 13 is a free space, which I think I'm going to use to start my StitchCon small and get that finished since StitchCon is coming up very soon. And then number 19 was Margaret Hull 1872. This is a project that I started on New Year's Eve of this past year for my 12 by 12, and I have not worked on it since. So I am excited to get some more progress on this one as well. Definitely a bird stitching month for me between Secret Garden and this next one. I'm really excited to pull that one back out. So those are my upcoming WhipGo pulls. The current Pick a Whip prompt is to work on a project with no 310, which funnily enough, I think most of the projects I showed today actually don't have 310, which is very surprising. Secret Garden has no 310, Vanity Sampler has no 310, the Bookcase has no 310, and Cross Stitch Makes Everything Okayer also had no 310 or any black of any kind. So definitely an interesting roundup there. But that is it for plans and for all of that. So let me know if you're going to be joining us for Manning May, or if you're working on a StitchCon small. Obviously, don't tell me what it is because you got to keep those secret. But that is everything stitching wise to cover today. So I'm going to transition. Oh, one more actually. I do have one more upcoming start for this month. I'm joining my friend Megan in starting Remember Me by Teresa Kogut for her birthday on the 28th. So go ahead and wish Megan a happy birthday on the 28th if you remember. And I have this kitted up with some Not Another Sampler linen from Be Stitch Me and the Vicki Clayton silk conversion, which I went ahead and floss dropped up. So I'll be starting this one. I've had this kitted since this project released. I think it was Market last year. And then Megan and I just never started it. And I saw the model at Nashville this year and it was beautiful. So I've had this on my list to start forever, and Megan wanted to start it for her birthday. And who am I to deny her a birthday start? So that is what I'm going to be starting for the rest of the month. And that is officially all of my stitching plans. So we will transition now into talking about cross-stitch lighting. So I have a very exciting giveaway to tell you about today. If you have been following me since the beginning of my channel, way back, almost 2 years ago now, the company BenQ reached out and I did a lamp review. They sent me this lamp here, which is the BenQ Genie e-reading desk lamp. I did an entire dedicated video to talking about it, and I have used it every single day to light my cross stitch since that video came out. I am so obsessed with this lamp. So when the folks over at BenQ reached out to me again to ask if I would be interested in doing an updated video for the kind of 2.0 next generation version of the lamp, I agreed immediately because, again, this is a product I really stand behind. I don't do a lot of product reviews on this channel just because I don't feel the need to, but this is so relevant to cross stitching because good lighting, especially on dark linen, can make or break you. And so I want to tell you guys about this lamp, which is the updated version of the one that I just showed you. Okay, so this is the BenQ e-reading desk lamp, but this is the version that has the swing arm. So you can see the difference here between this one that just has one hinge and this one that has two. This really erases the only problem I ever had with the first version, which is that I couldn't adjust it far enough over as I was stitching to get it over my project perfectly. And because of the double arm, you can really get a lot of movement out of this lamp now. I am so obsessed with it. I've been using it every day since they sent it over. And you just simply turn it on here, and the lighting is incredible. You can change the angle, you can change the rotation here and here. You can adjust the dial to adjust the brightness, or if you pop it, you can adjust how yellow or how white the light is. It also comes with programmed settings for reading on paper or reading on a tablet. And it's just an incredible lamp. I don't know what I would do without it. I actually took the older version, since this one has moved into my stitching spot. I took the older version and put it over my quilting table, so I now use it as lighting when I cut fabrics for quilting. And it comes on this base, which is extremely heavy. It's a very sturdy lamp, but actually there's a screw back here that will allow you to take this lamp off of this base and place it either on a floor stand attachment, which I don't have, or onto a clamp attachment, which I do. So let me show you that. This is my Lowry stand, which I don't use a lot because of my lighting issue, because I could never get this other lamp to stretch far enough over to the actual clamp on my Lowry stand. But the BenQ folks sent me over this small attachment that I have attached to the light bar that goes on the Lowry stand, and I can actually screw the lamp right onto here and adjust it over my Lowry stand. My friend Cameron of CamtheStitcherâ also was sent one of these lamps, and she filmed some incredible clips of her using the light with her Lowry stand that I definitely think you should go check out if you're interested. It's an amazing feature of this lamp. It reduces my eye strain like crazy. I don't struggle with eye strain when I cross stitch. I do have pretty good vision outside of that. I don't wear glasses, but this is a lifesaver, especially when it comes to stitching on dark linen. I absolutely love it. It's something I stand behind. There is a giveaway running for this lamp starting on April 26th. And you can find that at the link down below to sign up if you want to try your hand at winning one of these. I also will have links included for purchasing this lamp. It is more on the expensive side, but for me, it's something that I would spend my own money on outside of receiving this. It's legitimately something I stand behind. It's one of the best products I've ever received, both this version and the other one. This one is so much more versatile for cross stitchers because of its ability to change to a clamp lamp. The clamp I could take off of my Lowry stand and put on this desk here to come over my sewing. It's so convertible. The lighting quality is amazing. It doesn't get super hot. I've used this one every day for 2 years, and I've never had a single problem with it. The cord is really long. I can, again, the only issue I ever had was that I couldn't get it to stretch far enough over, but you can see how far away this is from me, and I can get it exactly where I need it to, and the lamp, the base is so sturdy it's not falling over. So that is my updated review on the BenQ e-reading desk lamp with the swing arm now. It comes in some beautiful colors as well, but it is probably one of the top few things in my cross stitch space. I probably will end up purchasing the floor lamp extension for myself because they didn't send it to me. I didn't ask for it. But being able to pull this into my bedroom to stitch over my bed, then to move it into my recliner spot in my living room, or to put it on the base on my rolling cart, like I can just move it anywhere and have amazing lighting for crafting. It's an incredible product. So if you are interested in purchasing the lamp or entering the giveaway, all of that information will be down below. And it's just a product that I stand by and something that I use all the time. So if you are looking at investing into your cross stitch lighting, which again is not a necessity, But if it's something that you've been looking at, this is definitely a great option that I hope you consider. So thank you to the folks at BenQ for sending this my way. I have loved your products for a really long time, and I'm always happy to continue talking about them. So that concludes that segment for today. Let's get into some quilting. It's been a while since I've talked about the other crafts I do because my cross stitch bug has been so strong that I have not worked on really anything else. I haven't felt the itch to knit or to crochet or to quilt in a while, but my quilting bug came back kind of full force, and I started working again on my Eras quilt. So this quilt behind me right here is actually on some batting. It is not fully finished yet. This is just a piece of, I think it might be twin size batting that I got at Joann's. I just tacked it up on my wall to make myself a makeshift design board. So I started working on these. Each one of these squares represents a night of the Eras Tour US leg of the concert, and the surprise songs that Taylor played based on the album color. So I matched these colors perfectly to the album or the Eras Tour poster. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. This is a lot. I recognize that. But my friend is doing a crocheted blanket, and then I decided to do this quilt. So these are economy blocks. The inside is the song that she played first, and the outside is the song that she played second. And I did that for every single night of the Eras Tour. It's so much fun. It was really fun following along. And yeah, so I finished all the blocks. I did, I think, 30 blocks and pressed them, and then I cut out all the sashings, and I've been working on kind of assembling the whole thing. I did 2 more of these little heart blocks. These are the nights that a special announcement was made. So this is from the second to last concert, which was the 1989 Taylor's version announcement. And then I have one for the Speak Now announcement and one for the show that I was at, also on the quilt. So this is in stages of being sewn together. So I think every row has a sashing on it so far, but I need to cut out some more of the just plain blocks for the corners and continue attaching it. So I don't want to pull anything off the wall too much because it's in a very precarious position to remember what goes in what order, because for these blocks, order is important, because if I get out of order, then the whole concert is out of order, you know what I mean? So there was someone who was doing a version of, she started off doing a crocheted blanket every night and worked on the rows while the concert was happening. Mine was very much planned afterwards as a kind of spin-off of her original idea. So this was not my idea to do an Eras Tour surprise set blanket, but it's something I've had a lot of fun with, and I haven't quilted in a while, and I forgot how fun it was, especially using paper piecing. So this is the paper I was using. This is from the Fat Quarter Shop. This is economy block paper in a 6.5 inch. And it's numbered, so you just go through and you sew on the line, adding fabric as you go. It makes it so easy. The blocks come out perfectly, and my points are perfect, which normally they're not. So I highly recommend paper piecing for beginners and for experienced quilters too, because it's just easy. And I've had a lot of fun working on this again. So I'm excited to hopefully show you my finished quilt top in the next video, where I can actually pull it off the wall and not mess myself up too bad. But this is my workaround for not having a design wall. So I just take the art off my wall and hang the batting, and everything sticks to it. So it's super easy. Obviously I'm just gonna ruin that there, but I just pop it back up and press it down and it stays. So that is my workaround there, and that is my quilting update. So I'm really excited to get that quilt finished. I'm really pumped. The only other thing I'm thinking about doing is trying to print a QR code on fabric to put a QR code link to the Spotify playlist that I made of all the songs in this order as part of the quilt label on the back. We'll see if I can pull that off. I'm gonna try and get some printable fabric sheets and see if I can make it work. So wish me luck. If you've ever printed your own quilt labels, let me know. I'm definitely, I know that you can like set it with like RIT dye, like a special setting stuff. So anyway, that's what I'm going to try and do as we move into the finishing stages of this quilt, but it's just something I've been having a lot of fun with recently, and I'm really looking forward to getting it finished. So that is that, and that is everything crafting. So if this is where you leave me today, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see, go ahead and leave me a ladybug emoji today. I don't know why, I'm just feeling it a little bit. But I am going to continue talking about books and a little bit of like what I've been into recently. If that is something you're interested in, I hope that you stick around. If not, happy stitching and have a great couple weeks. I'll be back kind of mid-May with my start of May updates, which I'm really excited about. So yeah. Okay, so chatting books. I have really not been reading a lot recently, but it's been a while since I talked to you. So I do have a couple standout books to tell you about, which I am very excited to tell you about. We're not going to cover everything I read because I read a few books that were just kind of okay, and I don't really feel like telling you about them because I also read them a while ago. So I'd have to remember an okay book, which is kind of hard. You know what I mean? But the books that I'm excited to tell you about. First off, I finished Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. If you've been on the internet when it comes to books and reading at all, you probably recognize the title of this book or the cover. But I've been reading Danielle L. Jensen since I was about 17, I think. She had this series called the Stolen Songbird series that I'm sure probably doesn't hold up if you didn't read it as a kid and have a little bit of nostalgia for it. But it followed this like girl who got sold to underground trolls, and anyway, I loved it. I ate that book up. And she also wrote the Bridge Kingdom series, which I think got a little bit more popular. I also really enjoyed that one, probably not as much, but this is her first like new adult series, and it's very Viking inspired, which it scratches such an itch that I didn't know I had. But I read this book on the plane to Nashville Needlework Market, and I finished it between there and back. It was so good. I was immediately hooked. We follow this woman who is a shield maiden, and she is married to this terrible guy who kind of sells out her big secret. And then a chain of events happen following that. There is a hot Viking named Bjorn, and he is her technical not really stepson, which sounds weird, but it works. And there's all of this magic and Viking stuff, and I'm a little mad I read it because now I have to wait for the sequel. It was so good. 5 stars. Highly recommend to everyone. Please read Fate Inked in Blood if you remotely like mythology and magic. This will scratch an itch for you. It's very spicy, and it's just really good. It's a book that I had a lot of fun with, and I definitely probably will be rereading it before the sequel comes out, but I am very excited for the sequel to come out. The other book that like really hooked me that I was not expecting to love is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I've read several Ali Hazelwood books in the past. I don't love them. Like, I think she's a fine writer. And the women in STEM, like, that's definitely something that needs to be talked about. But there's like always like one thing about her book that I don't love. Sometimes it just doesn't have enough escapism for me, because she does focus on academia and some of the hardships that come with that might be a little triggering for me. And sometimes that doesn't give you the escapism you need. But this is her first time doing fantasy. So this is her first non-contemporary romance. Does it still manage to be women in STEM? Yes, it does. But it is an arranged marriage book between a vampire and a werewolf, and I just had so much fun with this book. This is my favorite Ali Hazelwood by far, and you gotta read it. The only thing that really took me out of this book is the main character's name, because her name is Misery, which is a hard pill to swallow because it's just so weird, and it wouldn't be super weird if everybody else had weird names, but like the other characters around her, like her brother's name is Owen. So you had 2 kids and you named one of them Misery and the other Owen. It just takes you out just a little bit. But all in all, I really enjoyed the book. I gave it 5 stars, and I would read more of her paranormal fantasy romance situations. I very much enjoyed it. And the final book update I wanted to tell you about isn't necessarily one that I really loved, but it is something that I finished. And so This is the One Dark Window duology, the Shepherd's King duology by Rachel Gillig. These books are talked about all over the internet, and I read the first book back in October, I think, and it didn't super stick. I had to read it again to really like get it. And the magic system and the world building in this book is really cool. And so I decided to just read the second book and finish it out. So I reread the first book and finished the second book. And I don't know, there's just something about this book series that doesn't super hit for me. And it's like the premise is so cool, but the execution just wasn't it. The second book especially, it just felt like we didn't focus enough on what I wanted to focus on. Like it felt like I was spending so much time with these side characters, and I don't know, just it was kind of like a letdown experience, which I was talking with some of my friends about it who also are big readers, and it definitely feels like one of those things that if you hadn't read a lot of books in your life, maybe this would hit harder for you because you don't have other things to compare it against. Like, it's definitely, the concept is great. The main character, I just don't know. Like, it doesn't seem like she has enough agency in the story. Like, things just kind of happen to her. And then she spends the second book very much incapacitated for quite a bit of the story. I don't know, there were extreme misses with the series for me. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, and that's kind of the hardest part, I think, is that it seemed to have so much potential and so many people were hyping it up, and that's probably also where it suffered a little bit. The expectations for it were a little too high. But I don't know, I didn't love the series, and I really wanted to, and so that also kind of sucks. I think the premise is really cool. Just the execution fell a little flat for me. And that really sucks. So that's my one caveat if you're thinking about going into the series is if you're someone who has read a lot of fantasy or romantasy specifically, maybe this one won't hit for you. Maybe it will. Reading is all personal preference at the end of the day. So, you know, it is what it is. And the final books that I started reading that I've really been liking, my friend bought for me for my birthday a book called That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. This is a monster, not monster romance? Yeah, I guess monster romance a little bit. This is a girl and a werewolf, as it sounds, but the werewolf is lactose intolerant and she sells cheese. And so it's very kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's definitely a little sassy, very spicy, but my friend picked this out at the bookstore and it's number 2 in the series, and I started reading it and I really love it. So if you're looking for something really light that doesn't take itself too seriously, is a little bit cozy and very spicy, I think you'll like this one. But it's definitely not a blanket reference, a recommendation for everyone, particularly if you follow me because you like it when I talk about the more intense fantasies or other kinds of books. This is definitely light, fun, kind of take your mind off of everything else kind of a read, which definitely has its time and place. So if you're interested in things like that, I think you'll really like this one. And if you're not, don't take this recommendation. So I think that's it for books. But other things that I've been kind of doing outside of reading, I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, which sounds so incredibly nerdy. But in reality, it's just an excuse to play board games with your friends that don't have as many rules. And so my friend started a D&D group and asked me if I would join. And so I've been giving it a shot, and I gotta say I really enjoy it. There is something really, really fun about it, between getting fun, cute dice and making a fun little character, especially if you're someone who's read a lot of fantasy or you really understand those fantasy tropes. It's just a fun time with my friends. I play it with an entire girl group, and I've just been having a lot of fun with it. So I've been listening to some NADPod, which is Not Another D&D podcast, and playing that game and kind of getting into that. So that's been really fun, and that's something that I never thought I would say. My little brother has been a dungeon master and played D&D his whole adolescence, and I never really got into it, and he's definitely flabbergasted, as well as me. It's not something I thought I would be into, but here I am, and I love it. So you might see a cross-stitch D&D pattern that I start at some point, just because it's where we are now. I'm also really excited for Bridgerton season 3 coming out, and yeah, that's about it pop culture wise. So I'm rambling at this point. So I'm going to go take some progress pictures and make the Sal announcement for Secret Garden, which I hope you'll join me in stitching. Definitely. I mean, it's just so, like, tell me that is just not the most pretty little spring bird. I just love it so much. Anyway, I'm rambling. That's it. I'm going to do some more reading, hopefully get back on track with that and pull out my Manning May project and get all of that ready. So I am looking forward to seeing you guys in May. Don't forget to enter the giveaway for the lamp if you're interested, and I hope you have an incredible stitching time. Take care of yourself and do something for you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!